ॐ गणेशाय नमः। सरस्वत्यै नमः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। योपां पुष्पं वेद पुष्पवान् प्रजावान् पशुमान् भवति। चन्द्रमा वा अपां पुष्पं पुष्पवान् प्रजावान् पशुमान् भवति। य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति। अग्निर्वा अपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति। यो अग्निरायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति। आपो वा अग्निरायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति। य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति। आयुर्वा अपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति। यो वायोरायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति। आपो वै वायोरायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति। य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति। असौ वै तपन्नपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति। यो मुष्यतपत आयतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति। आपो वा अमुष्यतपत आयतनम् आयतनवान् भवति। य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति। चन्द्रमा वा अपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति। यश्चन्द्रमस आयतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति। आपो वै चन्द्रमस आयतनम् आयतनवान् भवति। य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति। नक्षत्राणि वा अपामायतनम् आयतनो भवन्तु। समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु। समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Om Shri Sai Ram. My humble pranams at your lotus feet, Swami. Swami physically visited the small hilly town called Kodagu or Coorg in Karnataka back in 1961 when my mother, who was a young bride, had her first darshan of Swami. All my growing years, Swami was a part of our household. I just knew that. Singing bhajans and doing his seva was part of our routine. It's when Swami used to be in Vrindavan, going for darshan used to be priority above anything else. I was 8 years old at that time, and I remember I had a dream of Swami. My mom and my sister had gone to Parthi, and I was alone at home with my dad. So in my dream, I saw Swami. The wind was blowing the hair away from his face, and I saw his black mole. The next morning, still in my sleep, I asked my dad if Swami had a mole, and I narrated my dream to him. Just to ensure that it was not a figment of my imagination, we observed every picture at home. This dream incident had me wondering, as an 8-year-old, that Swami had come to see me when my mom was there in Parthi. I felt maybe he liked me. My parents, Mr. Ganpati and Mrs. Jaya Ganpati, had started a samiti in Whitefield. Sorry. My parents, Mr. Ganpati and Mrs. Jaya Ganpati, had started a samiti in Wilson Gardens and had dedicated all their time to Swami's activities. So in my growing up years, Nagar Sankirtan and bhajans and seva was part of my routine too. One seva I distinctly remember was the Samiti members going to visit the Cancer Institute and the mental hospital, going to every ward singing 2 bhajans, going from bed to bed, holding the hands of the patients, giving them vibhuti. So I remember the suffering and tears on one side and the dedication and love of the Samiti members on the other side. I remember a few Samiti members, Swarna and Rama, who are part of this entourage too. The weekly bhajans of the Samiti were conducted in a government school because it was centrally located. So the watchman used to clear the classroom and keep the room ready for us. And my mom used to go to carry Swami's picture, the daris, aarti plates, fruits, flowers, and arrange the room for Swami's bhajan. Once the bhajan had started and one of the Samiti aunties came in a little late with a long garland, a purple garland which she had hand strung with her fingers, with her hands. And since the photo was already decorated and the garland was too heavy, my mom placed it along the length of the table. The bhajan started and Swarna sang the song Shesha Sai Narayana. When this bhajan picked up speed, I remember the garland twisted and turned, fell on one side, moved to the other side, and the whole garland fell on a gentle heap on the ground without moving the aarti plates, incense sticks, or other puja items that was placed there. This was a wonderful miracle which I still remember to date. Incidentally, I met Swarna last year at Sai Darshan for the Akhand Bhajan, and we enjoyed remembering and talking about our old memories almost 35 years ago. My mom used to wear only green saris. On occasions when Swami used to give her a sari, he used to look at her and pick up a green sari from the pile and give it to her. She used to recite the slokas which I learned from her. She initiated me into slokas and the Bhagavad Gita. I say this because we Kooks as a community are ancestor worshippers and nature worshippers. The ceremonies are performed by the elders of the family, and the South Indian rituals are not a part of our community. So when my mom had, I'm blessed that my mom has initiated me into all this, and it has stayed with me as a precious treasure. Time came for me to join college. My sister Dhanu was already in Anandpur. She used to narrate such wonderful tales about Swami to us. She used to make it a point to sit just behind Jayama ma'am when the Anandpur girls used to go to Parthi, so that she could get to listen to Swami talk, to hear his voice, and she used to relay it back home to us. And me, young that I was, would catch on to every little thing she said. And I started forming a picture of Swami, the caring, compassionate, thoughtful, kind Swami. It meant a lot to me. Now, when I had to join college, there was no second thoughts but to go to Anandpur. I got a seat in the college, but not yet in the hostel because there were hundreds of applications and only 90 vacancies. Now, how was I to know this? My sister Danu says that Jaima ma'am gave Swami the names of 500 applicants and a pen and said, Swami, we have only 90 vacancies. Please take the 90 names. I don't know how to pick and choose. And Swami chided her, saying, you can't even do this. And then he ticked 90 names at random. My name was ticked third, and that is how Swami took me into his fold as an Anandpur student. Going to Anandpur as a 16-year-old changed my life. My priorities, my thinking just started taking shape. I watched and learned to be organized, to be caring, to be disciplined, and to be sensitive to others' feelings and not to waste. Jaima ma'am was a mother figure to us. Swami used to visit Anandpur back in the 70s very frequently, and we freshers were given a chance to see Swami at close quarters. We used to be given a chance to stand in the corridors, in the common room, in the quadrangles where Swami used to walk, and he used to talk to me, ask me my name, where I was from, about my parents, and I really felt loved and cared for. And Swami ensured that all our comforts in Anandpur was taken care of. One incident I remember here is, Anandpur was a very hot, had a very hot climate, but I could never take a shower in cold water. So there was a provision of buying hot water at 50 paisa a bucket. So once when we went to Parthi, Jaima ma'am told Swami that a lot of girls were falling sick, Swami, with cough and cold. And Swami said, give them hot water. So she told Swami that there is a provision, Swami, they can take hot water if they want at 50 paisa a bucket. And Swami said, 50 paisa? Make it 35 paisa from tomorrow. And he looked straight at me with a twinkle in his eye and he smiled. I was thrilled. I felt I had a friend in Swami now. It may sound like a small incident to many of you, but to me, in my growing up years, a bond was being created with Swami. My feelings were acknowledged. I began to have an identity, and my confidence blossomed. Anandpur girls used to go to Parthi for almost all functions. I remember being the part of the bhajan group where I could play the kanjira and the talam. And we used to play with such fervor that during the Akhan bhajans and Shivratri in the mandir, that Swami used to come out in the middle of the night and look down at us through the window, looking so fresh and radiant. I was blessed to take part to do some flower arrangements in the auditorium during the Dashera celebrations, the morning and evening functions, with crates and crates of exotic flowers that would come, and also to make the flower carpets for Swami, and from the mandir to the auditorium. And we used to use our own design, our own color combinations. And when Swami used to walk on them, we used to watch. And I felt so humbled. I wanted to show him my gratitude. How? I just said, I will try and be all that Swami wants us to be. And I tried. And I learned to check myself and always try and do the right thing. In 1983, Swami performed the wedding of my older sister Dhanu in Vrindavan in the Kalyan Mandap. So when my mom used to talk to Swami about the preparations, and said that Swami, for the reception we will serve only vegetarian food because he's blessing the wedding. Swami said, no, no, no. You go and give your people a feast of kadi and kudi. He said, your people need all this. And then the wedding, Swami took care of everything from the flower arrangements to the lavish arrangements that was organized. All the Kodwa ceremonies were conducted, and Swami, a chair was placed for Swami amongst the devotees and the guests. Swami sat for 45 minutes watching the ceremony, which was conducted by the elders, and then after which the couple sat on low stools, and one by one the guests blessed the couple, went and took Swami's Pad Namaskar and moved on. After 45 minutes of doing this, Swami got onto the stage, created the Mangal Sutra, showered fresh white jasmine flowers on them, and obliged for so many photographs. And then he got down the stage to leave. My parents escorted Swami out. I remember seeing Swami standing outside the Kalyan Mandap, dignified and calm. He looked around, saw the cut banana stumps which were a part of the ceremony, and then looked at the far end at the devotees who were waiting for his darshan under the tree. And then he tells my dad, I'll celebrate the wedding of your second daughter even more grandly. So my dad thought, this itself is a grand affair. How much more grander can it get? By the way, I'm the second daughter. That day we were lucky to serve Swami lunch. Swami used to stay in the Rajmata's house during that time as Trai Vrindavan was being constructed. So by then I had finished my graduation, and I had an alliance of an army officer whose parents also were staunch devotees of Swami. So both the families decided to go to Swami and take his blessings and approval. So we sat for darshan in Parthi with plates of flowers and fruits, and Swami came from far away. He came asking, have you all performed the wedding? And when Mom said, no Swami, we have not even okayed it, you have to okay it for us, he said, Santosha, perform the engagement and come, I will celebrate the wedding. So Anaya and I were engaged in November 1984. The following year, he came on leave on 2 months leave in the month of April and May, so that to get married. So both the families went to Parthi, and Swami saw us and he said, have you all performed the wedding? So we said, no Swami, we have come here so that you give us a date and we'll make the arrangements for the wedding. And Swami says, the Kalyan Mandap is under renovation. I can't perform the wedding. And he walked away. Next day again he came and told us, you all perform the wedding and come. I will bless the couple. I'll give them saris and blessings and everything. But my mom said, no Swami, you said you would perform my daughter's wedding. So this went on. We had gone to Parthi for a few days, and it was a week now. One day he even told us that he has sent away the Chalarams, a family of Swami devotee, said they have also gone, they've agreed and gone, so you also must go. But so this went on day after day for a couple of weeks. But not one day did he ignore us. My mother-in-law was very supportive. Anaya was very understanding and very patient. But for an army man that he was, life in Parthi was very relaxed. So he used to go on long runs beyond the Chitravati river beyond the Akka Mahadevi temple or go to Bangalore for weekends and come back in time for darshan on Monday morning. Back home, my sister Danu was left with her 6-month-old daughter with all the wedding shopping done, and our vineyard the crop was ready and had to be marketed. She just took charge over there while we were in Parthi. In the 4th week, we saw a couple of devotees from Coorg trickling into Parthi. Day by day, the numbers increased. Was it a sign? Swami played a Krishna. He used to tell my mom, go and perform the wedding and come, and mommy refusing. And then he used to go to my dad and said, the ladies have agreed to go back to Bangalore, and confusing them. Anaya, who was till now patient and understanding, said that he had just 10 days of leave left and that he would like to go back home and meet his friends and family, and that he would come back the following year for the wedding. My mom and dad relented. And so the next day, we packed our bags and said that we will go back to Bangalore. Everything looked bleak. Maybe what Swami said was meant to happen. So on the last day, the 40th day of our stay in Parthi, with our bags packed, we went to have the last darshan of Swami. And Swami called us for an interview. He materialized a linga for my mother. He gave it to her and said it was Atma Linga. That year in 85, I remember Swami had materialized a lot of lingas, Jyotirlinga, Nagalinga. So my mom got an Atma Linga. And then he gave her a sari, a green one. He gave me a beautiful sari, a pink one. He asked me to hold one end of the sari. He held the other. We opened the sari. And he tells me it's a Tanjore sari. New pattern, hosa pattern. And then says, these are Meenakari booties. So we were so grateful. By then my mom-in-law left to Bangalore to make some arrangements, and she came back with my sister the same night with some relatives and friends in a bus which my dad had already arranged previously. They reached Parthi at midnight. Next morning, having hardly slept, we performed a small ceremony in the room and we walked towards the mandir. We were late. Swami was already out giving darshan. We were late. Later on, some Anandpur sisters told me, I believe Swami had come to the gate, and then he said, where is Saru? Saru Elli, has she forgotten it's her wedding today? And that was a time, the entourage of 20 wedding party, we were walking towards the mandir. Swami looked at us till we came, walked a little more, and then he continued giving darshan. In the interview room, Swami spoke to all of us, individually, casually. He spoke about how we should control our anger. He blessed my 6-month-old niece, carried her. My cousin, who was also Swami's, who used to drive Swami's car back in the 70s, was also there. So he materialized the thali and told Anaya to tie it for me. After which he told us the significance of the yellow threads. After Anaya tied the thali, Swami materialized a ring for him and showed it to all of us and said, this is a diamond ring. And then he gave it to me and asked me to put it for him. And as I was putting it, Swami tells him, this ring is from the girl's side. So we all were seated around him in that moment of gratefulness, of having passed the testing period. Tears flowed and we were speechless. Swami then tells us Lakshmi and Narayana's wedding was celebrated like this in Vaikuntha. His voice echoed and vibrated with deep meaning. So when he had told my dad back then that he would perform the wedding of the second daughter even more grandly, this is what he meant. The wedding lasted 1 hour 25 minutes in the interview room in Puttaparthi, and which was sacred and grand beyond measure. After the wedding, Swami told us to take some photographs. So Swami stood in the center, and my parents and I stood on one side, and my in-laws and Anaya stood on the other side of Swami. And Swami looked at all of us and said, "Ready?" Which he always does. And then he looked at me standing with my parents and he said, "Now you go there, you belong there in times of happiness and difficulties." He told me this in Kannada. Kashta sukadalli ನೀನು ಈ ಕಡೆ ಇರಬೇಕು. And then he said, life is full of ups and downs. From now onwards, he tells me, you will not say anything from this side to here and anything from this side to here. Illid maatu alli, allid maatu illi helba. This is the best advice any mother can give her daughter on her wedding day. My Saima gave it to me, which I've sincerely followed to date. So after my marriage, I was introduced to the army, a beautiful life. It was a culture shock to me, I must say. But I remembered all that I learnt in Anandpur, which was ingrained in us. And I held my own, did not get swayed. And I felt confident of doing so. Then in 1987, Sri Lanka happened. I saw life and death at close range. Overnight, my husband and his unit were deployed in special flights to Sri Lanka, Jaffna. There were a lot of casualties. Every day we were hearing of officers and Jawans dying. The cantonment where we stayed was filled with gloom. This was new to me. Om Shri Sai would be my chant when I was in a doubt or when I was in a fix, when I wanted Swami to give me the strength. When we saw the staff car of a commandant's wife, she's the senior most lady in the cantonment, which meant that she has come to tell a lady that her husband has died in war. And the lady would leave the cantonment with her children, never to return again. She would go back to her hometown to receive the body of her husband who had died a hero. We were so scared. During the day, we friends held on to each other. But after sunset, we had to go back home. It was so gloomy and so scary. I used to light the lamp, and just seeing the lamp lit would give me the strength to go about my tasks and not sulk. This lamp conveyed to me a lot of assurance and a lot of blessing. Sri Lanka continued. I was forced to go back home. My parents wouldn't let me stay there alone. Life in the army went on. I would like to narrate another incident where, when my husband was posted in J&K, he called me one day. Back in those days in the army, when your husband is out on an operation, phone calls are not done on an impulse. And even if done, It was done on a army contraption phone for safety reasons. So he called me once and he said, after speaking, he tells me, if all goes well, God willing, inshallah, he said, I'll call you on a Wednesday. If all goes well, what did it mean? And then we just said bye and kept the phone. I looked at my kids sleeping. I looked at Swami. The lamp was lit. I actually need not have worried. But worry I did. I was 33 and I did worry. Wednesday came. We spoke. Everything was forgotten. Much later, years later, I learned that he had to lead his men to our neighboring country to capture a post there. And anything could have happened. Swami used to occasionally ask my dad, how are your daughters? Because we were so far away from home. And he would categorically ask my dad, how is your Navy Aliya and your Army Aliya? Your Navy son-in-law and your Army son-in-law. So Swami was always there guiding us and looking after us. Even during the operations, my husband says he felt Swami's presence all the time. He felt his protecting hand over him. Swami's teachings did not fade away from my mind. Simple teachings which you see written all over in Puttaparthi, I started following them. Visits to Parthi visits to see Swami became once a year or not at all. But Swami's lamp, the diya which used to be lit in my house, was my guiding force. My daughter was born in 1988. Those days, Swami used to we used to enjoy having car darshan of Swami. Car darshan as in, when Swami used to go from the mandir towards the city, we used to stand by the road and have his darshan. The person driving Swami's car used to slow down and Swami used to wave out at us and bless us. So once, when my daughter was just 2 months old, Swami was passing by a house and we stood there to have his darshan. Swami stopped the car, opened the car door and put a few granules of sugar in my daughter's mouth in a plate where my mom had kept some dry fruits. And he waited till my mom took Aarti. And when my mom said, Swami, please name the little baby, Swami looked at her and said, on the road? He says, you come to Vrindavan tomorrow, I will name her. So next day in Vrindavan, when Swami saw us, he quickened his steps, he came and asked us, what's the name of the older daughter? We were confused. We said, Swami, but she is the older one. She's the firstborn. Then my sister Danu says, Swami, Sailata. Sailata was the name of her daughter. So then Swami says, okay, if she is Sailata, this baby is going to be Supriya. I don't know why Swami made the connect between the two, but my daughter, he's given her such a beautiful name. We could not have given her a better name. My parents, by now we had shifted to Whitefield. My parents were actively involved in the Whitefield Samiti activities, study circle, Narayan Seva, village Seva. So once the Samiti conducted a big yajna called the Sapta Laksha Japa Yajna. On the last day of the yajna, Swami visited our home, spent some time with the family and the Samiti members. I remember Dr. Balasubramaniam and Dr. Subramaniam of the General Hospital were a part of the Samiti. My son was born, and one day I realized that I had stopped asking Swami anything. He was guiding us. He guided me through my 2 thyroid surgeries. He made them happen at the right time. And then my daughter was getting married. As parents, we were very anxious. We were scared. My parents could not attend the wedding, which made my husband and me feel very lonely and very vulnerable. I'd kept a photo of Swami on the stage, and every time I got a moment to spare, I used to look at Swami for assurance, for strength. And then it happened. One side of the flower fell from Swami's photo, and it was so assuring that we were not alone. My responsibilities were taken care of by Swami. I don't know when, but I knew that he was there clearing the obstacles for us. Was it because of our karma, or was it because we had surrendered to him? We were definitely, my husband and I were making an attempt to follow his teachings. We went about our work with a prayer. Swami's name was always at the tip of our tongue. We were acknowledging Swami all the time, and the lamp guiding me always. I believe that we all should sanctify our homes by following Swami's teachings, and the energy will flow to the rest of the household. I had worked for 23 years as a teacher in army schools and international schools. I quit my job in 2016. That brings me to the super specialty hospital. Ever since I saw this structure coming up, I was attracted towards this building. I wanted to just come here and do something. As what? I didn't know. I also knew that the time was not right because my husband was still in uniform, means he was still a serving officer. But the attraction towards the hospital was still there. I was just being pulled. Once I got to know that the Sai Darshan Samiti members come here for seva. So I took it as a cue, and in 2017, I went to Sai Darshan, which is in my neighborhood, to meet Mr. Dwaraknath, the president, and tell him how I could go to the hospital for seva. Mr. Dwaraknath was very kind. He explained how the counseling department or the other seva works, and he made a call to Dr. Sundareshan, who was also very kind to me. So before I could meet Mr. Dwaraknath, I had to wait a while, and that is when this lady, Mrs. Sadhna Rao, comes to me and asks me if she can help because she saw me standing there. And then when I told her that I want to do seva, she asked me if I had any seva in mind, particularly in my mind. When I said no, she said that she would contact Geeta Umesh, and she did. And within a few hours, Geeta Umesh, who was holidaying abroad at that time, called me up, and within a month, I was absorbed in seva over here. It was such a smooth process. I fitted in effortlessly in 2017. The counseling department works in such an intelligently structured manner under the guidance of Mrs. Geeta Umesh and Mr. Umesh Rao. I felt settled in my new role. The pandemic has struck, but our counseling department is still evolving. We are into telecounseling now, where we are reaching out to patients in the remote parts of the country and ensuring that they are following the discharge advice diligently. It is definitely a fulfilling seva. when I had just joined the Counseling Seva in 2017, Mr. Umesh Rao had introduced us to a beautiful book called The Mind and Its Mysteries. It was a thin 70-page book where Swami's discourses were compiled. So the agenda was to discuss chapter after chapter. And I bought myself a copy of the book and I sat down to read it, thinking, let me prepare for the discussion of the first chapter. And when I have a book, I am excited. I like to read it from cover to cover. So as I sat down to read the foreword of the book, I came to the 4th line and could not go beyond the 5th line. I managed to complete the page, but I went back to line 4. There was a message in that line for me. A message from Swami arrives only when you are ready to receive the message. Line 4 said, Swami even admonishes the devotees as to how long they wish to remain in the elementary classes. He wants us to progress, to grow, to make a difference in this world, to follow his teachings. Yes, definitely by doing seva, but a little beyond that. To make a difference, to bring about a change in our thinking, to spread his message. Swami has shown me the way since 1963. It was for me now to step beyond the elementary class and make a difference. A difference I did get to make, thanks to Mrs. Geeta Umesh for embracing me into her fold. I brought people around me to be positive and spread goodness. But for me to continue doing that, I need to work on myself in my thinking and in my actions. It's a gradual process, I know, but with Swami guiding me, I will get there. Jai Sai Ram.
Gariga sari nisa, nisari ma pani pa ma gariga sari nisa, ni da nisa. Gariga sari nisa, nisari ma pani pa ma gariga sari nisa, nisari ma pa ma pa.
ముఖ్యంగా ఈ హ్యూమన్ వాల్యూ చాలా అవసరము, మానవతా విలువలు చాలా అవసరం.
Today human values are very, very necessary.
మానవతా విలువ హృదయం నుంచి పుట్టేటువంటిది.
The human value comes out of the heart.
మనకు మనం ఆచరణలో పెట్టేటువంటిది.
It is the one that will take us to practice.
ప్రతి విషయాన్ని కూడా మనం ఆచరణలో పెట్టి ఇతరులకు బోధించండి.
Every matter we must practice first and then
అంత
teach.
సులభం కాదు.
It's not that easy.
కానీ కష్టపడాలి.
But yet we must struggle.
కష్టే ఫలి.
Out of struggling only you
సైకిల్
will have
తొక్కాలంటే
result.
ఎంత కష్టపడాలి?
You should work hard.
ఒక కార్ డ్రైవింగ్ నేర్చుకోవాలంటే ఎంత కష్టపడాలి?
To learn driving you should work
అట్లనే
hard.
హ్యూమన్ వాల్యూ కూడా నేర్చుకోండి.
Similarly learn human value.
ప్రాక్టీస్ ఇవ్వండి.
Practice it.
శ్రేయో హి జ్ఞానం అభ్యాసాత్.
Without practice you cannot have
జ్ఞానా
anything.
ధ్యానం విశేషతే. ధ్యానాత్ కర్మ ఫలత్యాగ. త్యాగశాంతి అనంతరం ఒకటి అభ్యాసం. వాకింగ్, టాకింగ్, రీడింగ్, రైటింగ్, ఈటింగ్ అన్ని త్రూ ప్రాక్టీస్.
So walking, talking, reading, writing, everything comes out of practice.
కనుక హ్యూమన్ వాల్యూ కూడా నువ్వు ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయండి.
So practice human value.
కూర్చో, ఒక దినం పొద్దున్నే కూర్చో.
Sit down in the morning.
మరే నేను ఈ పిల్లలకంతా చెప్పాను.
I am teaching students.
నేను సరిగా చెప్పానా?
Did I teach well?
నా కాన్షియస్ తృప్తిగా ఉందా?
Have I satisfied my
నేను
conscience?
చేస్తున్నానా?
Am I practicing?
ఈ విధంగా ప్రతి దినము కూడాను తనకు తాను పరీక్షించుకోవాలి.
Like this, everyone should examine one's own
తనలో
self.
ఏమైనా దోషం ఉంటే రెండవ దినం దాన్ని సరి చేసుకోవాలి.
If there is any mistake within him, he should correct next day.
ఈ విధంగా పోయినప్పుడు దేశమంతా కూడా ఎంతైనా దీనిని ఆకర్షించి అందరూ గౌరవిస్తారు.
If we go like this, it will attract the whole country and earn the respect of everyone.
సత్యసాయి కోరేటువంటిది ఒక్కటి.
Satya Sai desires only one thing.
అందరూ మంచి పడాలి, మంచిగా ఉండాలి.
All should be good. All should be good.
లోక సమస్త సుఖినో భవంతు.
This universe should be happy.
ఎవరిపైన మీరు చెడ్డ భావాలు పెట్టుకోకండి.
Don't have bad feelings on anyone.
ఎవరిని మనసు నొప్పించకండి.
Never hurt anybody.
సాధ్యమైనంత వరకు కూడా నీకు నువ్వు బాధపడినా పర్వాలేదు, కానీ ఇతరులు బాధ పెట్టవద్దు.
Doesn't matter if you suffer, but don't make
అది
others suffer.
భారతీయ సంస్కృతి యందు అష్టాదశ పురాణేషు వ్యాసస్య వచనద్వయం పరోపకార పుణ్యాయ పాపాయ పరపీడనం. హెల్ప్ ఎవర్, హర్ట్ నెవర్.
That is what is said in Bharatiya culture, the sum and substance of all the 18 scriptures, epics. Help ever, hurt never.
ఇవి రెండు కావాలి. ఎవరిని మనం ఏమాత్రము బాధించకూడదు.
We should not hurt anybody.
ఒకవేళ ఇతరులు మనం బాధించవచ్చును.
Others may hurt you.
దిస్ ఇస్ గుడ్ ఫర్ మీ, గుడ్ ఫర్ మీ, గుడ్ ఫర్ మీ.
Take it that it is good for me, good for
ఈ
me.
కష్టములు సుఖానికే వస్తుంటాయి.
The difficulties will give you happiness.
బాధలు మనకు ఆనందాన్ని అందిస్తాయి.
The suffering will give you happiness.
సూర్యో అస్తమైపోతే తిరిగి రెండవ రోజు సూర్యోదయం కలుగుతుంది.
If there is sunset, there will be sunrise the following day.
ఈ సుఖ దుఃఖములు రెండు కూడాను శీతోష్ణముల మాదిరి ఉంటాయి.
The pleasure and pain are like a heat and cold.
కనుక ఎవ్వరికి మనం వెరవనక్కర్లేదు.
We need not have fear for
మనం
anyone.
భయపడవలసింది ఒక్కదానికి మాత్రమే.
We should have fear only for one thing.
పాప భీతి, పాపానికి భయపడాలి.
There should be fear of sin. We should fear for
మనం
sin.
ప్రేమించవలసింది ఒక్కటే.
We should love only one.
అదే దైవాన్ని
We should
ప్రేమించాలి.
love God.
అదే లవ్ గాడ్.
Love God.
పాప భీతి,
Fear of sin.
దైవ ప్రీతి.
Love of God.
సంఘములో మనకు ఒక నీతి.
Morality in society.
మొరాలిటీ ఇన్ సొసైటీ.
Morality in society.
సొసైటీలో మొరాలిటీ లేకపోతే ప్రయోజనం ఏమిటి?
What is the use if there is no morality in society?
ఆ మొరాలిటీనే లేకపోతే
When there is no morality,
పాప భీతి మనకు రాదు.
there will be no fear of sin.
పాప భీతే లేకపోతే
When there is no fear of
దైవ
sin,
ప్రీతి కూడా మనకు ఆవిర్భవించదు.
there cannot be love of God.
కనుక మొట్టమొదట సంఘ నీతి.
Therefore, first morality in
మనం
society.
పుట్టడము, పెరగటము, జీవించటము సర్వము కూడాను సమాజంతోనే ఉంటున్నాయి.
We grow, we are born here, we develop in society.
కనుక మొట్టమొదట మన సమాజం యొక్క క్షేమాన్ని మనం కోరాలి.
Therefore, we should desire the welfare of the society.
మన క్షేమమంతా సమాజ క్షేమం పైన
Our
ఆధారపడి
welfare
ఉంటుంది.
depends on the welfare of the society.
కనుక నేను బాగుండాలనుకుంటే సమాజం కూడా బాగుండాలి.
If you want to be good, the
ఈ
society should be
విశాలం
good.
విశాలం విశాలం బ్రాడ్ మైండ్ చేసుకోవాలి.
You should have broad mind.
నాట్ బ్రాడ్ హార్ట్,
It's not broad heart.
బ్రాడ్ మైండ్.
You should have broad mind.
విశాలం విశాలం. ప్రేమ ముదిత మనసే కహో రామ 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 శ్రీ రామ రామ రామ. प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम 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 श्री राम राम राम. पाप कटे दुख मिटे लेत राम नाम. भव समुद्र सुखद नाव एक राम नाम. परम शांति सुख निदान दिव्य राम नाम. निराधार को आधार एक राम नाम. माता पिता बंधु सखा सब ही राम नाम. भक्त जनर जीव गण एक राम नाम। भक्त जनर जीवन गण एक राम नाम। राम 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 श्री राम राम राम। राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम राम राम।